Good morning, ma'am.
So, how is your preparation going on? So, as soon as the class begins, you should all be ready to attend and log in into the app because we cannot have much time waste.
Class.
And all of you mute yourself. When I ask a question, then only you should unmute and answer me. In
Okay, ma'am.
between, you should not open your mic because it is creating lot of disturbance in the class.
Okay, ma'am.
Let's wait for 2 more minutes so that everybody will join. So, meanwhile, just to have a recap, so your subject is electric power systems, and the number of chapters in this topic are how many? Parmeshwar?
Six, ma'am.
Six. Yes. What is the first unit? Somebody have
Source of thermal
unmuted them.
power station. Source of thermal power station, ma'am.
Yeah, sources of energy and thermal power station. That is your first chapter. Second chapter?
Hydroelectric power and nuclear power station.
Good. Third?
AC and DC transmission DC transmission lines.
Okay. Fourth?
Performance of transmission lines. Transmission lines.
Yes. Fifth chapter?
Line structure for transmission and distribution lines.
And sixth chapter?
Distribution system. Distribution system.
So, how are you all planning for the examination? Which chapters you are finding easy and which chapters you are finding difficult? You are all aware of examination pattern, right?
Yes.
So, out of these 6 units, which chapter you are finding easy and which chapter you are finding difficult?
I'm AC and DC transmissions lines, ma'am. Third chapter.
Okay. Rest are all easy for you to understand. To understand the concept. Is it okay? The remaining chapters, first, second, fourth, fifth, and sixth.
Ma'am, sixth chapter, ma'am.
Distribution
Yes,
systems.
ma'am.
Distribution systems, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I will try to uh, revisit the subject and I try to explain these two chapters again. That is AC/DC transmissions and distribution systems. But some of your students have also asked about the parameters of transmission lines. So Basically, in the third chapter, we are going to deal with AC and DC transmission systems. So, here the basic questions will be, what is the purpose of a transmission system? So, what is the basic purpose of a transmission system? Anybody in the group?
To transmit the high voltages from.
Yes, because in the generating stations, we are able to generate the voltage which are very far off from the load centers. The generating stations are generally not located near the load centers, so they are at very far off places. So to but the load is located somewhere else. But who will transport this energy from the generating stations to the load stations? Then the picture of transmission systems comes into line. That means that is the mediator between the generating systems and the load centers. So, before coming into the load centers, there is another mediator also apart from transmission system. There is a second mediator that is called the distribution system. So, your sixth chapter is about distribution systems. That means if you consider as a ladder ఒక మెట్లు తీసుకున్నప్పుడు ఫస్ట్ స్టెప్ ఈస్ your generating station, second and third will be your transmission system and distribution system, fourth step and the final step, that is the consumer, that is the load. సో మనం జనరేటింగ్ స్టేషన్స్ నుంచి లోడ్కి రీచ్ అవ్వాలి అంటే మనం డైరెక్ట్గా జంప్ చేయలేం. డైరెక్ట్గా పవర్ జనరేటింగ్ స్టేషన్స్ నుంచి కన్జ్యూమర్ లొకేషన్స్కి డైరెక్ట్గా జంప్ చేయలేదు. కాబట్టి మధ్యలో రెండు ఇంటర్మీడియట్ స్టెప్స్ తీసుకుంటాం మనం. ఫస్ట్ది ట్రాన్స్మిషన్ సిస్టమ్, రెండోది డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్ సిస్టమ్స్. సో ఈ రెండు కూడా కన్జ్యూమర్ అవసరాలను తీర్చడానికి వాడబడే పవర్ కావాలి అంటే ఈ రెండు కూడా చాలా అవసరము. సో ఒక పవర్ సిస్టమ్ అంటే మనకి జనరల్గా ఈ సబ్జెక్ట్ టైటిల్ ఏమని పెట్టారు, ఎలక్ట్రిక్ పవర్ సిస్టమ్స్ అన్నాం. సో ఎలక్ట్రిక్ పవర్ సిస్టమ్స్ అన్నప్పుడు పవర్ సిస్టమ్ అంటే నేను ఆల్రెడీ డిఫైన్ చేశాను ఏమని. పవర్ సిస్టమ్ మీన్స్ ఇట్ ఈస్ అ గ్రూప్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ ద సబ్ సిస్టమ్స్ విచ్ డూ డిఫరెంట్ ఫంక్షన్స్ ఫైనలీ టు మీట్ ది కస్టమర్ డిమాండ్. అంటే కస్టమర్ యొక్క అవసరాలకి ఏం కావాలి అది సాటిస్ఫై చేయగలిగే సిస్టమ్. అందులోని సబ్ సిస్టమ్స్ అన్నిటికీ కలిపి కామన్గా ఒకటే పేరు పెట్టాము, దాని పేరే పవర్ సిస్టమ్స్. సో పవర్ సిస్టమ్స్ ఈజ్ grouping of subsystems which finally satisfy the needs of the consumer. So here if I want to first take the step, I want to take the transmission system. So here you are able to see a transmission system in which you have two types of transmission systems. One is overhead lines and the other one is buried cables. Are you able to see the picture?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, here you are
Yes, ma'am.
seeing some cabling system present in the ground, underground. That is one type of transmission. This can also be a transmission, and these are not called as now lines, they are called as cables, that is underground cables. And another type of transmission is overhead lines. Overhead means ఓవర్హెడ్ అంటే మన పేరులోనే ఉంది, మన తలపైన ఉండేవి. మన తలపైన అంటే భూమి పైన ఉండేవి ఓవర్హెడ్ లైన్స్. వీటిని మనం ట్రాన్స్మిషన్ లైన్స్ అని అంటాము. ఇంకో టైప్ ఆఫ్ ట్రాన్స్మిషన్ ఎలా చేయొచ్చు పవర్ వన్ ప్లేస్ టు అదర్, దట్ ఈజ్ యూజింగ్ బరీడ్ కేబుల్స్. సో ఇవి బేసిక్ స్ట్రక్చర్ ఆఫ్ ఎ ట్రాన్స్మిషన్ సిస్టమ్. సో జనరల్గా మనం అండర్ గ్రౌండ్ ట్రాన్స్మిషన్ కన్నా కూడా ఎక్కువ ప్రెజెంట్లీ మనం యూజ్ చేసే ట్రాన్స్మిషన్ సిస్టమ్స్ అన్నీ కూడా ఓవర్ హెడ్ ట్రాన్స్మిషన్ లైన్సే ఉంటున్నాయి. సో ఈ ఓవర్ హెడ్ ట్రాన్స్మిషన్ లైన్స్లో మనం పవర్ని కనుక పంపించాలి అనుకున్నప్పుడు వి జనరలీ గో ఫర్ ACSR conductors, that is aluminum conductor steel reinforced. So here in this picture you are able to see an aluminum conductor steel reinforced. The steel is present at the center of the aluminum conductors. So why again we are using steel? Steel is giving strength, mechanical strength to the cable, and aluminum is light in weight. Whenever we want to hang overhead transmission lines, because they are in the air, they have to be very strong, because when the lines are exposed to the atmosphere, they are subjected to different pressures of wind, ice, etc., natural calamities, etc. So to withstand all these natural phenomena, the transmission lines, which are nothing but three phase conductors, or it can be a bundled conductor. You can use a single solid conductor, or you can use bundled conductors containing three phases of the power system. So generally for transmission we go for three phase transmission. We go for three phase transmission. The conductors are usually aluminum cable, steel reinforced. They are in brief, in short, called as ACSR conductors, which are steel core for the strength and aluminum wires having low resistance, and also they are light in weight. They can be used for this type of transmission. So here in this figure you are able to see the strands of aluminum conductor, and at the center you have the steel wire. So the same figure here also you are able to see. So when the transmission lines are laid, see here in this diagram, we are able to see a tower. On the tower, you are able to find the transmission lines, and in we also have studied about insulators. Insulators are materials which oppose the flow of current, and hence these insulators will protect the equipment present on the earth from getting any over voltages onto the earth. This is another diagram for the insulators. So, in addition to three phase conductors, a transmission line usually includes a steel wire that is called as ground wire also. These wires are electrically connected to the tower and to the ground, and therefore these wires, here in this figure you are able to see the earth wire on the top, that is usually will be at ground potential, because they are connected to the tower and to the ground, and hence they will be at the ground potential. So in large transmission lines, these wires are located above the phase conductors, and they will be acting like a shield from lightning, just like how we use umbrellas to protect ourselves from rain. Similarly, from over voltages, these earth wires, when laid above the conductors, they will act like a shield, and these shields will directly face the over voltages before by not letting the over voltage onto the త్రీ ఫేస్ కండక్టర్స్. అంటే కండక్టర్స్కి ఒక షీల్డ్ లాగా ఉంటాయి కాబట్టి వాటిని అర్త్ వైర్స్ని షీల్డ్ వైర్స్ అని కూడా పిలుస్తాం. సో దిస్ ఈస్ అ జనరల్ కన్స్ట్రక్షన్ ఆఫ్ ఎ transmission line. Here you can see what are the different components of a transmission system. AC DC transmission system, any transmission system, the basic question is what are the components of a transmission system. So you can write all this which are present here, that is earth wire, cross arms, dampers, conductors, insulators, spacers, etc., and also the tower structure, that also you can write. These are the different components of a transmission line. Similarly, when you go for underground transmission, we use cables. So these are generally, cables are used, or underground transmission is used whenever we want, whenever we don't have open area where the region is densely populated, then we cannot go for overhead transmission lines, because we cannot have so much space to build an overhead transmission system. So in such cases we go for underground cables. So that is also a way of transmitting power from one point to another point. Okay, this is an underground cable. Now, your any transmission line is having, it has series resistance, inductance, and shunt capacitance per unit length. So I'm talking about performance of transmission lines where you are able to find the expressions for the inductance and the expressions for the capacitance, so that you have only the expressions for those, and you need to do some problems on calculating the capacitance of the transmission lines. So, we all know the transmission lines can be classified into three types, that is, short transmission line, long transmission line, and in between you have medium transmission lines. So, whenever I want to represent a transmission line on paper, means on mathematically or on paper, we have to represent the line by three important elements. These elements are called the parameters of the transmission line. So what are they? One is resistance, the other one is inductance, and the third one is shunt capacitance. So both resistance and inductance are connected like a coil. Whenever you have a coil, the coil is represented by series resistance and inductance, and shunt capacitance, shunt means parallel. So, this capacitive effect is present between the line and the earth per unit length of the line. So, whenever I want to represent a transmission line, I want to first to know the values of R, L, and C. Then only we can represent and do the performance of transmission lines. మీకు పర్ఫార్మెన్స్ ఆఫ్ ట్రాన్స్మిషన్ లైన్లో మనకి ఏమని ఇచ్చారు అంటే సిలబస్లో, we have to find the regulation of short transmission lines, that we have to find out. So whenever we want to find the regulation, what is regulation? Oh, anybody in the group? What is regulation? Because all the syllabus is completed. By this time you should know each and every bit of your syllabus. So just try, what is regulation? In the fourth chapter, you have a concept of regulation of short transmission lines, because all whatever I am teaching is interrelated, because we can't skip and tell the exact point, because the subject is interrelated to one chapter to the other chapter. So I am telling like a interrelated way. So when we want to calculate the regulation, what are the terms we need to find out? Anybody in the group? What is regulation, by the way?
It is a ratio of sending end voltage minus receiving voltage to receiving voltage.
What is that called actually? Regulation means what? You are telling a mathematical expression. Are you understanding, Sujit?
వోల్టేజ్ రెగ్యులేషన్
అంటే ఏంటి? మీరు నాకు ఫార్ములా చెప్తున్నారు ఎలా క్యాలిక్యులేట్ చేయాలనేది. నేను అడిగేది ఫార్ములా కాదు. దాని మీనింగ్ ఏంటి? రెగ్యులేట్ చేయడం అంటే ఏంటి? ఇప్పుడు ఫ్యాన్ ఉంది, స్పీడ్ రెగ్యులేట్ చేయడం అంటాం. అంటే ఏం చేస్తున్నాం మనం? ఆ? ఇప్పుడు నీకు బాగా చలేస్తోంది, నీకు బాగా చలేస్తున్నప్పుడు ఫ్యాన్ హై స్పీడ్లో పెడతావా? ఏం చేస్తావు నువ్వు అప్పుడు?
రెగ్యులేట్ చేస్తాము.
రెగ్యులేట్ రెగ్యులేట్ చేయడం అంటే ఏంటి? కంట్రోల్ చేయడం. అర్థమైందా? వోల్టేజ్ రెగ్యులేషన్ అంటే వోల్టేజ్ని కంట్రోల్ చేయడం. అంటే మనం ఎలా, ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఫార్ములా చెప్పారు కదా, విఎస్ మైనస్ విఆర్ బై విఆర్ ఇంటూ 100 అన్నారు కదా. సో విఎస్ మైనస్ విఆర్ అంటే ఏంటి? రిసీవింగ్ అండ్ వోల్టేజ్ కదా. సో ఆ రిసీవింగ్ అండ్ వోల్టేజ్, ద డిఫరెన్స్ బిట్వీన్ ద సెండింగ్ అండ్ రిసీవింగ్ అండ్ వోల్టేజ్ టు ద రిసీవింగ్ అండ్ వోల్టేజ్. సో ఈ క్వశ్చన్ మీకు 1 మార్క్కి రావచ్చు, 3 మార్క్స్కి రావచ్చు. సో రెగ్యులేషన్ మీన్స్ కంట్రోలింగ్ ఆఫ్ ద వోల్టేజ్ అట్ ద రిసీవింగ్ అండ్ సైడ్ ఈజ్ నోన్ యాజ్ రెగ్యులేషన్. సో వాట్ వీ హ్యావ్, ఐడియల్ కండిషన్స్లో రెగ్యులేషన్ షుడ్ బి హౌ మచ్? కంట్రోల్ ఎలా ఉండాలి? ఫుల్ కంట్రోల్ ఉండాలి కదా మనకి. సో మనం ఏదైనా కంట్రోల్ చేయాలి అనుకున్నప్పుడు మనకి ఆ కంట్రోలింగ్ పవర్ ఎక్కువ ఉండాలా, తక్కువ ఉండాలా? సప్ ఎక్కువ ఉండాలి కదా. సో ఇప్పుడు మనం ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ యూ టేక్ కంట్రోలింగ్ ఆఫ్ ఫ్యాన్. సో ఇప్పుడు నువ్వు ఫ్యాన్ వన్లో పెట్టాలంటే వన్లో ఉండాలి, టూలో పెడితే టూలో ఉండాలి అనుకుంటాం కదా. 1 2 3 5 మార్క్స్ ఇచ్చారు మనకి. యాక్చువల్లీ మనం స్పీడ్ని అక్కడ కంట్రోల్ చేస్తున్నాం అంటే నువ్వు ఎంత కావాలనుకుంటే అంత రావాలి కదా. సో యాక్చువల్గా నువ్వు ఆ కంట్రోల్ అనేది నీకు కంప్లీట్గా ఉన్నప్పుడే నువ్వు ప్రాపర్గా రెగ్యులేట్ చేస్తున్నావని అర్థం. అలాగే ట్రాన్స్మిషన్ లైన్స్లో కంట్రోల్ ఎలా చేయాలి అంటే రిసీవింగ్ అండ్ వోల్టేజ్ సెండింగ్ అండ్ వోల్టేజ్కి ఈక్వల్గా ఉండాలి. అప్పుడే మనకి డ్రాప్ అనేది రెడ్యూస్ అయిపోతుంది, అంతే కదా. విఎస్ మైనస్ విఆర్ బై విఆర్ ఇంటూ 100. సో ఆబ్వియస్లీ వీ వాంట్ టు ట్రై. మనం ఇక్కడ ట్రాన్స్మిషన్ సిస్టమ్స్లో ఏం చేద్దాం అనుకుంటున్నామంటే రిసీవింగ్ అండ్ వోల్టేజ్ సెండింగ్ అండ్ వోల్టేజ్ 100 volts ఉంటే రిసీవింగ్ అండ్ వోల్టేజ్ కూడా 100 ఉండాలి అనుకోవాలి ఇక్కడ. అలా అనుకున్నప్పుడు అప్పుడు రెగ్యులేషన్ ఏమవుతుంది, విఎస్ మైనస్ విఆర్ ఏమవుతుంది, విఎస్ మైనస్ విఎస్ఏ అవుతుంది కదా. బికాస్ you are at the receiving end also you are getting sending end voltage, but which is not practicable in practice. That is not practicable, but we want to aim at receiving end voltage should be equal to the sending end voltage. So the regulation is 0% there, and that means you are having 100% control on the voltage. So if you want to find the regulation, we want to find the difference between vs minus vr is nothing but the drop in the line. So when I want to calculate the drop in the line, I want to find out the value of R, L and C. That's why we want to know the expressions for inductance, resistance and capacitance. So that is the need for finding the value of R, L and C, and these are called as parameters of a transmission line. These are called as a parameter of a transmission lines. So these values determine the power carrying capacity of the transmission line and the voltage drop across it at full load. అంటే సపోజ్ మనం రిసీవింగ్ ఎండ్ సైడ్ ఫుల్ లోడ్ అప్లై చేసినప్పుడు ఎంత వోల్టేజ్ వస్తోంది విఆర్ అనేది చూడాలి అంటే ముందు డ్రాప్ కనుక్కోవాలి, వోల్టేజ్ డ్రాప్. సో మనందరికీ తెలుసు వోల్టేజ్ డ్రాప్ ఫార్ములా ఈజ్ ఇన్ డిసి ఇట్ ఈస్ ఐ ఇంటూ ఆర్, బట్ ఇన్ కేస్ ఆఫ్ ఏసీ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఐ ఇంటూ జెడ్. So what is R and what is Z? R is only resistance. Z is what is Z?
Impedance.
Yes, Z is impedance. So Z is a combination of R, L and C. You all agree for that? Yes. What is Z expression? Z is equal to R plus J. చెప్పండమ్మా. XL minus XC. What is Z? R plus J XL minus XC, right? So XL is omega into L, XC is 1 by omega into C కదా. సో అందుకని మనకి C వాల్యూ తెలియాలి, L వాల్యూ తెలియాలి, R వాల్యూ తెలియాలి. ఇవన్నీ తెలిసినప్పుడే మనం వోల్టేజ్ డ్రాప్ కనుక్కోగలం. వోల్టేజ్ డ్రాప్ కనుక్కుంటేనే మనం వోల్టేజ్ రెగ్యులేషన్ కనుక్కోగలం. సో ఇవన్నీ ఇంటర్ రిలేటెడ్. సో వోల్టేజ్ రెగ్యులేషన్కిను వోల్టేజ్ డ్రాప్కి అది సంబంధం ఉంది. సో హౌ టు ఫైండ్ ద వాల్యూ ఆఫ్ ఆర్? జనరలీ we all know that in DC just R is nothing but rho into L by A. So like that, and this is always a constant value, where L is the length of the conductor, A is the cross sectional area and rho is the resistivity of the conductor. So we can find out the value of R like rho into A when L is taken as 1 meter. So this can be rho by A per meter. So resistance per meter, DC resistance per meter, we bring this L on the left hand side, you get rho by A ohm per meter. This is the value of resistance. So resistivity, you all know what is resistance. So different materials, when you use for transmission lines, different conductors, aluminum, iron, each one will have a specific resistivity, and accordingly you can find the resistivity at different temperatures and then calculate the value of resistance. So you know the value of R. In order to find Z, now you can find the value of R using this formula, that is R is rho into L by A. Okay. Similarly, when we want to find the value of inductance, this is the most important term which is there in your syllabus, expression for the inductance. This is the third time I'm explaining the same topic. So, inductance, you all know what is inductance. Inductance means whenever there is a coil, that coil will exhibit a property of magnetism, and in that magnetism, the coil opposes the flow of current. The coil is linked with some flux linkages and it opposes the flow of current. That property of a material is known as inductance, and the material which is exhibiting this property is called inductor, and the in terms of resistance it is inductive reactance. So what is the formula for L? This you have to learn, because L is denoted by number of flux linkages by current passed through that coil. So this L is in transmission lines. This is a combination of internal inductance plus external inductance. Internal inductance means within the conductor what is the value of L. So there is a derivation for this, but for you there is no derivation. So just go through the expressions, and the value of inductance due to internally present is given by mu I by 8 pi. This you have to remember. The internal resistance, internal inductance per meter of a transmission line is given by mu by 8 pi. This is the internal inductance. Okay, this is the internal flux linkages mu I by 8 pi, because basic formula for inductance is what? L by, flux linkages by I. So here your flux linkage after derivation is mu I by 8 pi. So mu I by 8 pi is the internal flux linkages divided by current passing through that. That is flux linkages, internal flux linkages divided by I. So I gets cancelled and you have a constant term mu by 8 pi. This is called the internal inductance of the transmission line. But as I said, the total inductance of transmission line per meter length is a combination of internal inductance plus external inductance. Till now, we have seen only the internal inductance mu by 8 pi, but we also have external inductance. So, here I think you all know the terms. What is mu? 8 is a constant, pi is a constant, mu is, anybody? What is mu? Quickly, you have to answer. What is mu?
Related to permeability, ma'am.
Yeah, permeability. Permeability means ability to pass magnetic lines of flux through it. When a material is having certain ability to pass the magnetic lines of flux through it, then that value is represented in the form of permeability mu, and the symbol is mu. Now, external inductance between two points outside of the line. Suppose if this is the conductor and some other point outside the conductor also, you will find the magnetic lines of force linking the conductor. So because of that external flux, to find the inductance external to the conductor, we need to calculate flux linkages of the conductor external to the conductor region. So when you calculate that using the same procedure, we will find the flux linkages external to the conductor. So this is the flux linkage, the external inductance per meter is given by mu by 2 pi log in ln. This is to the base of e. ln పెడితే it is to the base of e. log పెడితే it is to the base of 10. అది తెలుసు కదా అందరికి. సో external inductance is mu by 2 pi ln into d2 by d1. So here we are calculating the external inductance of a single phase two-wire transmission line. So for your exam, you have to remember this formula. So inductance SI unit is Henry per meter. So it is a combination of internal inductance plus external inductance. And when you add both of them, the final expression is mu by 2 pi 1 by 4 plus In d by r, where what is D and what is R. Here you can observe that the total inductance of a wire per unit length in this transmission line is the sum of internal inductance plus external inductance between the conductor surface R, and the separation distance is D. So with this, we have obtained the expression for inductance of a transmission line. So once you know the value of L, you can calculate inductive reactance, that is XL. XL is omega L. So substitute this value of L into omega. Omega is 2 pi F. Then you will get the inductive reactance XL. So the next thing is, for the transmission lines, the same way you calculate the inductance of a transmission system. So here you see XL is nothing but J times of omega L. Omega is 2 pi F into inductance. Just now we have calculated L value. Substitute that value of L over here. So similarly we can find the expressions for the capacitive effect. So here we see the basic expression for the capacitance. Q is equal to C by V. Q is the charge held by the capacitor and V is the potential across the two parallel plates. Then we know the expression for the charge held by the capacitor is CV. So this is the expression we use for calculation of C value. So I will show you the final expression for the capacitance. This is all the derivation, because derivation is not there, I'm just skipping off that. Q is equal to CV gada. So first we are finding the value of V, then C is equal to Q by V. C is equal to Q by V. So Q we already write, and V we have calculated by this formula, and this is the final value for your capacitance of line between two conductors. So this is the final expression between the capacitance of a single phase two wire transmission line, pi epsilon by log n d by r. So just remember these formulas and substitute the values given in the problem to calculate the value of C. Okay. So this is capacitance to the ground. That means single phase transmission line. If you take the capacitance to ground is given by 2 times of pi epsilon by log n d by r. So this is the expression for a capacitance to ground. So this formula you can use for calculating the problems. Okay. Since the problems are there for you, just go through one or two problems, and first of all remember the expressions for the transmission lines. Once you know the value of R, L, and C, then we calculate the regulation, that is Vs minus Vr by Vr into 100. So usually for short transmission lines, we calculate the regulation by having a formula given in terms of the voltage at the receiving end and the drop across the resistance and the inductor, because in short transmission lines we don't require capacitance effect. So that's why for short transmission lines we can avoid the value of C. Just we want to have the value of R and XL, because in the value of Vs also you don't have the value of XL, because in the short transmission lines the capacitive effect is neglected. Hence, a transmission line can be represented only by its resistance and its reactance. That's all. Inductive reactance XL. So, once you know these values, we can find the regulation of the transmission line. So, percentage regulation is found as Vs minus Vr into Vr divided by Vr into 100. And if we want to find the line losses will be I square R, the power carried by the line, the current carried by the line into resistance of the line. So that's why the calculation of these parameters is very very essential to find the regulation of the transmission line. సో మీరు అందరూ అనుకోవచ్చు ఎందుకు ఆర్ ఎల్ సి వాల్యూస్ కనుక్కోవాలి అంటే టు ఫైండ్ ద రెగ్యులేషన్ అండ్ ఆల్సో టు ఫైండ్ ద ఎఫిషియన్సీ ఆఫ్ ది ట్రాన్స్మిషన్ లైన్. ఎఫిషియన్సీ కావాలి అంటే వీ వాంట్ టు ఫైండ్ ద లాసెస్ కావాలి అంటే ఐ స్క్వేర్ ఆర్ చేయాలి. ఐ స్క్వేర్ ఆర్ చేయాలంటే ఐ ఇస్తారు కానీ ఆర్ ఎలా కనుక్కోవాలి? ఆర్ ఇందాక చూపించిన ఫార్ములా ప్రకారం ఆర్ ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు రో ఇంటూ ఎల్ బై ఏ. సో అది యూజ్ చేసి మనం ట్రాన్స్మిషన్ లైన్ యొక్క ఎఫిషియన్సీ ఎంత పవర్ని ట్రాన్స్మిట్ చేయగలుగుతోంది అనేది కనుక్కోవాలి. సో దిస్ ఈజ్ ద ఓవరాల్ కాన్సెప్ట్ ఆఫ్ యువర్ ట్రాన్స్మిషన్ సిస్టమ్స్, where whether it is AC or DC. In the DC, if we want to study more, there is another concept of HVDC which I have covered in my previous classes, where HVDC is high voltage DC transmission, because when we compare AC to DC, we have certain advantages of DC. Therefore, we go for high voltage DC transmission systems also. But at present in India, the number of HVDC transmission systems are very limited. Majority of transmission is still going on in AC only. So in my coming class, I want to discuss about your sources of energy. That means your first chapter. So that will be a brief revision from the first chapter. I want to discuss about non-conventional methods of power. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, please prepare for your examinations from now only. Start doing all your record works, all your assignments, and I am also able to give you assignment shortly. I will give you from 5th and 6th chapters also. So please write those assignments as usual and submit me when the time is given to you. And I will give the time also
Okay,
to
ma'am.
write the assignments. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.